We have mentioned an organization called EUROGI not just once this morning, the European Umbrella Organization for Geographic Information. No IT conference, including this one, would be complete without utilizing technology to reach out to the speakers who are willing to join us from afar. And so today, the president of EUROGI, Mr. Henning Sten Hansen, is joining us from Paris, where the EUROGI General Assembly meeting has just completed. Henning Sten Hansen's career is intertwined with the development of GIS and GIT, not only in Denmark, but dare I say, throughout Europe, and maybe even worldwide. We are honored today to have the opportunity to listen to this GIS pioneer as he gives us insights in the increasing use of location information in our everyday and its impact on topics ranging from smart cities to open data and big data, and ultimately to our society as a whole. Please welcome Mr. Henning Sten Hansen from Paris.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and thank you very much for, I think I need to talk my speakers. You can hear me still? It's yeah, it's a pleasure, and yes, join its conference. Sorry for this technical problem. It's location is becoming a very important topic at the moment. Therefore, I have called my presentation "Location Information and Technology at the Crossroad." I am currently president of EUROGI, and at the introduction, we have our members meeting today in Paris. We also had one yesterday where the focus was on utilities, and utilities are becoming very important part of spatial data infrastructures today, with platforms for handling utility information is being created in my own country, Denmark, also very much in France. Therefore, we are here in France, also Belgium and Netherlands. I'm not familiar about this level in Latvia, but we will come back to this later on, perhaps, in some questions. In my daily life, I am a full professor at Latvijas University, Copenhagen, in geoinformatics, and I've had this position for the last 10 years. Next slide, please. Thank you. An overview of my presentation: first, data, then technologies related to data, some challenges which are currently on the agenda, and then finally, and not at least, EUROGI's contribution to solve the challenges. Next slide, please. EUROGI, I do not know how much you are familiar with the organization. Of course, Latvijas ଼IT, but it was established more than 20 years ago, actually 23 years ago. It is independent, it's a Europe-wide organization, and it is a network of networks. We have, and in that way, we have actually many members. We have direct members and we have indirect members. For example, Latvijas ଼IT, or my own organization from Denmark, have a member of EUROGI, but we also have a lot of members by our own organization. So that way we have very large outreach. We have 3 different kinds of membership categories: the public authorities, the private companies, research organizations, NGOs, and not at least the national GI organizations. We are focusing on GI from a user perspective. It means that we have many organizations dealing with geographic information or location information in Europe. Perhaps the most well-known one is EUROGI, the organization for the national mapping agencies in Europe. But of course, they are focusing on the national mapping agencies. We have research organizations organized in Agile, but now we have a very broad organization representing the users broadly, including the private sector, because actually the EUROGI is the only organization dealing with or presenting the private GI companies. Next slide, please. Location information and related technologies are more important than ever in history. We have discussed in EUROGI quite a lot what we should call this kind of information. It can also be called geographic information or geospatial information, but at least we wanted to know that we wanted to use a name which was familiar with everybody. Everybody knows the word location, while geospatial seems perhaps to be a little too scientific. Location information is also much more used by the European Commission today as a term for this kind of information with coordinates, etc. And that's of course important because location is not only for scientists. Location information is not only for scientists. And location is, together with time, common elements in all data, providing a fundamental basis for linking and integrating data from a wide range of disciplines like health, finance, welfare, culture, transport, the environment, climate change, etc. Next slide, please. As I said, location information and related technologies are more important than ever in history. EU has therefore invested billions of euro in Copernicus and Galileo programs. Copernicus is about satellite images for Earth observation. It is a European parallel to the American Landsat program, which has actually been taking images of the Earth since 1972. But Copernicus has better resolution and it has also a much more stable funding. And the Galileo program is also a European parallel to the American GPS. Also, again, Galileo is much more accurate and it's free of use as well as Copernicus. And we can also see that many people are now becoming even creators of location information by themselves using their smartphones tracking or by using hobby drones. I have seen so many going around tracking themselves, their own movements in the landscape for fitness purposes and perhaps also other. So these new data providers are, in addition to the traditional existing ones from mainly the national mapping agencies, but of course also from environmental research organizations or public organizations working with building information and traffic information. Next slide, please. Of course, this kind of new data providers creates perhaps even more confusing system for handling the data. We have the INSPIRE directive. Actually, the INSPIRE directive was adopted a long time before. We had Copernicus a long time before. We had smartphones a long time before. We had drones, and of course this also creates new challenges for INSPIRE directive. It was adopted 10 years ago and into force in 2008. And I was so lucky that I had in World Tech Group writing the directive and preparing the directive from 2001 to 2007. So I have followed this work very detailed. From the beginning, there was great enthusiasm. We have yearly conferences and but later on the speed of practical implementation faded out. And I think there are two possible reasons for this. First of all, we had a financial and economic crisis in Europe, and also having a so long implementation period, it is very difficult to keep the enthusiasm on the broader scale. I think this is perhaps the last thing is probably the most serious challenge for INSPIRE, because although it seems to be implemented according to the time schedule, the Annex 3 data will be implemented by the end of the 20s. So there's still 10 years ahead to work on. So this is a challenge, and this is probably INSPIRE will never be totally implemented, but in a way it is still a very, very important instrument for harmonizing location information in Europe. Also, there is a good connection between Copernicus program and the INSPIRE program, and a lot of new data being created are also harmonized in a way so it fits into the INSPIRE framework. Next slide, please. Another very important issue to raise here is that development of e-government. It has started with just simple web pages. Then they created portals and search engines, and you can have simple formulas, and you could create transaction, limited self-service solution. I think in my own country, Denmark, we are in a way between this limited self-service solutions and integrated online services. Actually, a lot of contacts with the municipalities are now going on through the web. So if you just want to ask for a kindergarten for your children, then you are doing this in just integrated online services. But of course, other more challenging topics needs that you meet physically up at the municipality. But it's clear that there are huge efficiency potentials in development of IT-based e-government, and also but of course it really is dependent on the technological development. Next slide, please. And it is a fact that location information is a prerequisite for e-government. It is actually so that more than 80% of all information gathered in public authority have a location reference. Just think about all environmental things, all people, People are located at a specific address, same for companies, etc. And this has created a movement in my own country towards open data. It means that in order to utilize the data, there should not be a cost limitation, because if there are cost limitations, then the data will not be used efficiently, and therefore we have this the data model shown on the screen, where there are data about individuals. We are all living at specific locations. The same for businesses. These houses, they have a real property. They have an address. They are close to a road. And of course everything is then connected to maps and geography. So this is the Danish model for freeing the data, and all the data you can see here are now being, it is decided by the government that they are free, but we still have some challenges to make very easy way of downloading the data. I can easily download all the data about buildings, but it's not so straightforward because the user interface is not finished yet. Next slide, please. Open government data. First of all, some EUROGI. What we have talked about this very much, and we have made a set of criteria. It's they can support transparency and democratic control. It can support public participation, self-empowerment, also improved or new private products and services through innovation. I think it's more or less clear by many people, at least, that the innovation in the public sector is dependent on new innovative ideas in the private sector. In that way, we can obtain improved efficiency and effectiveness of public services. We can make impact measurements of policies. If you are making new laws, it's nice to know what is actually the effect. Is it a positive impact or a negative impact? If it's the last thing, it's not good, and you have to develop that law or remove it totally. And also, what is perhaps mostly interesting, new knowledge from combined data sources and patterns in large data volumes. We are talking very much about big data, and big data can be used in many different ways. It can be used by criminals, but in most cases it's used by the societies, also private companies, to, for example, create new medicines by handling and analyzing huge amount of data. And we have also got the new data directive, or data, it's not a directive, it's a data regulation from the EU which tries to ensure also privacy in the data, because a lot of data are now available also about individuals, and we have heard not so positive stories from Facebooks and Google and other huge companies who actually knows more about ourselves than perhaps even ourselves. So this is so everything is not just positive. It has to be. We have to reflect also about the privacy issues. The next slide, please. We also have new user communities. Traditionally, the main users of location information has been the public authorities and private businesses. But now everyone are users of location information, using Google Maps and car navigation system, public transport planner. They do not know that the term is geographic information or location information. They are just using the tools. And the mobile phone is the most frequently used device for using location-based information. Everybody are looking around. I'm going around in Paris, and everybody are looking at their mobile phone for finding the right place and searching for. If you're looking at the museum, oh, what is that? You go into your mobile phone and say, yeah, I can easily get access to information. And it's clearly that this will even increase dramatically during the next few years by augmented reality. It means that when you're going around in a city, for example, you will get more information than you actually can see. So if you just point your device to a specific building, you can read everything about it, or it can be a park in the city, and you say, okay, this was actually built in created in 1888, and it was this architect behind, etc. So you can use your mobile phone for a lot of things with a location information. And what's very important here is that the mobile phone always knows exactly where it is and where you are. And it's used by all ages, all nationalities, expert and expert users, and also all, I should have said, expert and non-expert users. Sorry. Next slide, please. We can also see some emerging technologies. I've just mentioned big data, but what is also going on now, creating more big data, is the Internet of Things, where a lot of things like your refrigerator at home is connected to the web, if you want, of course, and in that way all topics all instruments are connected with each other through the Internet of Things. Linked data is a very important or complicated way of linking data through, again, the Internet. Cloud computing. You can go around with your mobile phone in the street, and if you want to do some more complicated calculations, you can just let a computer. I can go around here in Paris, and the computer in America or Australia are doing the calculations for you and just send back the results extremely fast. And what's very much discussed at the moment, robotics. Robot will also always need to know where it is, and it's the same for self-driving vehicles. 10 years ago, very few people talked about robotics and self-driving vehicles. Say, okay, this is something to be dealt with in the really long term, but this is not the case. It's there more or less now, still in the beginning phase, but I think the development will run very fast. Next slide, please. The current situation is that the global geospatial sector actually grows very fast, about 30% annually. And the data are a bit old, but anyway, still in 2009, there were about 7,000 GeoSMEs. It's EUROGI's term for SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises with a geospatial component or location focus in their work. And also all countries in Europe, including the European Commission by DG GROW, have policies supporting the growth of SMEs.
Mēs redzējām ļoti skaistu datu modeli, kurā, manuprāt, jebkurš biznesa cilvēks varēja saprast datu savstarpējās saites, un es katrā ziņā aicinu izmantot šādu veidu vizualizāciju par datu attiecībām arī turpmāk. Mēs palikām ar 2 jautājumiem no EUROGI prezidenta, kurus es aicinu arī jūs, tad kafijas paužu laikā pārdomāt paši. Viņš novērtēja pats Dānijas attīstību tādu, kad viņi ir jau garām web risinājumiem, garām portālu posmu attīstībai, bet jau ar vienkāršām transakcijām nodrošina pašapkalpošanos paņēmienus saviem klientiem. Kā tad īsti mums ir Latvijā? Un otrs jautājums, kurus aicinu mums pārdomāt, kā viņš minēja, šobrīd tiek diskutēts par to, vai ir ģeogrāfiskā informācija, ģeotelpiskā informācija vai atrašanās vietas informācija. Kā tad tur īsti mums Latvijā? Ģeogrāfiskā, ģeotelpiskā vai atrašanās vietas informācija?